There are a few things that I just don't buy, and that might be things that I never really have been interested in buying, or things that I've worked out are just not necessary. Here are 10 things that I don't buy as a first year teacher in my 20s. The first one is clothes online. I just don't shop online anymore for clothes, mainly because I'm just really lazy. So if the clothes come and they don't fit me or I don't like them, I'm probably just not going to return them, and that means that I've wasted my money. So I make a point to save up money so that I can go at a specific time, buy a few items that I know I need, and actually try things on in the shop. The next is skincare that hasn't been either heavily tested by me or heavily researched. So I have really sensitive skin in the way that I'm very acne prone, and I have been since I was about 10 years old. So I make sure that the skincare that I use the same stuff every single day, or I have the same skincare routine and repurchase those products because I know they work for me. And if I wanted to try a different product, I would swap it out for the one that I have and make sure that I've researched it heavily to make sure it's going to work for me before I even try it. And that means that not only am I able to find drugstore skincare that I know works for me, but I'm not wasting my money on things that either is going to break me out or I'm just not going to enjoy and then waste it as well. The third one is Amazon furniture. During my uni days, I was such a stickler for Amazon furniture because it was cheap, it looked decent, and it did the job. But do you know what? It does not last. So now that I am older and I kind of know what I need my furniture to do for me, I am not going to be buying Amazon furniture. When I start renting in a couple of months, my boyfriend and I will need to get furniture, but we're going to look on Facebook Marketplace, and then also some charity shops have secondhand furniture, which they also deliver as well. So it will be secondhand that we use, and that means that we can save some money, but also know that we're getting something value that will last for years. Number 4, things I can't pay in full. So I have a credit card, I get 1% cash back on all of my shopping, but one thing that my mum has driven into my head since I was a kid is do not buy anything that you cannot afford to pay now. So especially with a credit card, I use it to get the points and to get the cash back. I don't ever buy something on a credit card that I can't transfer the money over and pay immediately. And this just means that I'm never on a credit card float of having to pay back my debts when I get a new paycheck, but then also I'm never carrying any credit card debt, which notoriously has very high interest. So I use credit cards to work for me, and I don't ever pay something that I can't pay back in full. I think maybe it's different if you're buying something like furniture and you wanted to wait until you get your next paycheck, but you know that you can pay it back, or you can afford to pay the minimum for a couple of months. But in general, for me, I just won't do that. If I want to buy something, I'll save up the money ahead of time. The next is a corner shop snack or treat on my way somewhere. So especially at uni, when it was kind of a walking town, you would pass corner shops, you think, I'm hungry, let me just jump in and grab a snack. But these costs do add up. So now I just make it a rule, if I'm hungry and I'm on the way somewhere, I'll just wait until I get home. I know that I'm never hungry enough where I really need a snack. I mean, if I was getting, lightheaded or whatever, I would stop for a snack. But in general, I can wait until I get home, or I've packed myself a lunch. So I don't buy corner shop snacks or travel snacks, as I also could call them. The next is subscriptions that I haven't used in a month. I did such a subscription purge when I joined YNAB because I could see all of my subscriptions and how much they were costing me, and I really reflected on whether I needed them or not, and quite a few of them I was able to get rid of. I kind of took a break from heavily running, so I didn't pay for Strava anymore, I didn't pay for Runner anymore. I've taken a step back from my gym membership because I was going to join a new gym, but now I'm going to be moving. So all of these things, if I'm not using it, it's got to go because I can use that money elsewhere. And if I want to get a subscription back, I sort of have to earn it back. So I have to, if it's like a running app, I have to prove to myself that I'm running consistently again, or if it's some sort of streaming service, I have to be watching on it consistently in order to pay for the full subscription. So I kind of have this accountability with myself to make sure that I actually want and need the subscription. Otherwise, they just add up and you feel like your money's being stolen from you before you have the chance to spend it. The next is eating out, except for a special occasion. Eating out has always been something in my family where it is a special occasion. My mum is very frugal, and so we only really went out for dinner if it was a birthday or a celebration or we had people staying. So now I think it is a luxury. I think eating out is so expensive these days that it shouldn't be something that you just go and do all the time unless you can afford it and you put the money aside for it. I enjoy eating out much more when it's for a special occasion. Like, for example, we went out for my boyfriend's birthday recently. We're going to go out for lunch this Friday because it's my graduation. So yeah, I think it should have a purpose, especially if you're on a low income, because those costs can creep up really fast. And also I make it a rule too that if I'm eating out, I can order whatever I want because I've put the money aside for it, I've saved for it. I know that I'm good for the money, so whenever I do eat out, I just make sure that I enjoy it and I get whatever I want. The next is something that I used to buy. I love fruit and it's great for you. And I used to have smoothies and porridge and I would buy frozen fruit as well, but the cost is just diabolical, really. So out of me and my boyfriend, he doesn't really eat fruit and he would always moan about the cost on the grocery receipt. So I have cut it down to two different types of fruit that I have for my lunch and my snack at work, and then anything else really I don't buy. I just try and switch out the fruit so I can keep it interesting, but it's so expensive these days and I don't buy frozen fruit anymore. I could, but I think just the cost, I mean, I think the bags that I was getting would last maybe a few days, and if I was eating it every day, and it would be like £4. So yeah, I've cut down on fruit. I still make sure that I'm getting my fruits and vegetables, but I just kind of pick and choose the ones I'm going to have that week and I don't go crazy with it. And that also means that I'm not going to be letting them go bad, which was another thing that was happening if I wasn't eating them quick enough. The next one is new books. I have a library app which I can use my library card number for. It's called Libby, and that means that I can check out books online, so I can read them on my iPad. They go back after 2 weeks and I can just read all of these books without having to actually purchase the book and for that book to take up space in my house. So I think if I was more into reading and I had specific books that I really enjoyed, I probably would spend my money on it. But I think for me, I don't really need to spend my money on a book that I'm only going to read once. And if I do spend my money on a book, I think it's really good to do it like an ebook so that I can keep it on my iPad and it doesn't take up as much space. But I also really like getting books as gifts, so I welcome those. But for me, I'd much prefer to go to the library for a physical book, or I have a library app that I can use for ebooks, and it saves me a lot of money and means that I can have access to quite a lot of books for free. Lastly, I don't spend my money on anything that hasn't gone into YNAB first. So I make sure that I find the money first, which is one of their biggest philosophies, and that is to make sure you actually have the money that you can put in that category to purchase the item. So finding that money, figuring out where it's going to come from if your category doesn't have enough money, and then also if it's a bigger item, putting it into your wish farm or even just into your budget so you know how much it's going to be, how long it's going to take for you to reach it, how much you need to set aside each month. Everything that I buy now has so much intention behind it that I never feel guilty for purchasing anything because it's not impulsive. I know I have the money and I know that I'm not costing myself elsewhere by taking it from something that I really needed. Please let me know in the comments any things that you don't buy or you no longer buy that you used to. I really want to know, do you agree with any of my 10? If not, please tell me anyway. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one.